In the skies over the Western Front, a new kind of warfare was taking shape. Out of the roar of engines and the rattle of machine guns, one aircraft would become a legend, feared by its enemies and revered by its pilots. This is the story of the Sopwith Camel, the most iconic British fighter of the First World War. The Sopwith Camel, officially designated the Sopwith F.1 Camel, was a single-seat biplane fighter developed and built by the Sopwith Aviation Company for the United Kingdom. Entering service in 1917, the Camel quickly became synonymous with Allied air power. With its distinctive hump-shaped fairing over the machine guns, the Camel was instantly recognizable. It was designed to dominate the air war, providing the Royal Flying Corps and Royal Naval Air Service with a fast, agile, and heavily armed platform for aerial combat, escort missions, interception, and ground attack. By the end of the war, the Camel had become the most successful Allied fighter, credited with more aerial victories than any other Allied aircraft of the conflict. The genesis of the Sopwith Camel can be traced to the evolving demands of aerial warfare in 1916. Early in the war, air combat was still in its infancy, with unarmed reconnaissance planes giving way to the first purpose-built fighters. The Sopwith Aviation Company, already known for the successful Sopwith Pup and triplane, began work on a new fighter to replace these earlier types. The design team, led by Herbert Smith, sought to create an aircraft that would combine improved firepower, maneuverability, and pilot protection. The prototype first took to the air in December 1916, and after a series of refinements, the Camel entered frontline service in the summer of 1917. Its arrival marked a turning point in the air war, as it quickly proved superior to many German aircraft of the time. The Camel's development reflected the rapid pace of aviation technology during World War I, with new designs often becoming obsolete within months. The Sopwith Camel was a classic example of early 20th century aircraft engineering. Its structure was primarily wood, covered with doped fabric, resulting in a lightweight yet somewhat fragile airframe. The Camel was powered by a rotary piston engine, most commonly the 130 horsepower Clerget 9B or the slightly more powerful Bentley BR1. The engine's rotary design, where the entire engine rotated with the propeller, contributed to the aircraft's unique handling characteristics. The Camel's wings were of equal span, with a compact, tightly grouped fuselage. It measured just over 5.7 meters in length with a wingspan of 8.5 meters. The aircraft's empty weight was approximately 420 kilograms, with a maximum takeoff weight of around 660 kilograms. The Camel could reach speeds of up to 185 kilometers per hour and had a service ceiling of roughly 6,400 meters. Its endurance was limited, with a typical range of about 2.5 hours, reflecting the short, intense nature of most air engagements during the war. The Sopwith Camel was the first British fighter to mount twin synchronized Vickers machine guns firing forward through the propeller arc. This gave it a significant advantage in firepower over its predecessors, which often carried only a single gun. The guns were mounted directly in front of the pilot, enclosed by the distinctive hump that gave the Camel its name. In addition to its primary role as a fighter, the Camel was occasionally fitted with small bombs for ground attack missions, making it a versatile tool for both air-to-air and air-to-ground operations. The aircraft's compact design and powerful engine made it highly maneuverable, especially in the hands of an experienced pilot. However, the torque from the rotary engine made the Camel challenging to fly, particularly for novices. The combination of agility and firepower allowed the Camel to excel in dogfights, where quick turns and accurate shooting could mean the difference between life and death. The Sopwith Camel's combat debut came in the summer of 1917, during some of the fiercest air battles of the First World War. It served with both the Royal Flying Corps and the Royal Naval Air Service, and later with the newly formed Royal Air Force after April 1918. The Camel quickly established itself as the preeminent British fighter, credited with destroying more than 1,200 enemy aircraft, more than any other Allied type. Camels flew in every major theater of the Western Front, taking on German fighters such as the Albatros D.V and Fokker Dr. I. The aircraft was also used for ground attack missions, strafing enemy trenches and positions. Notable aces, including Major William Barker and Captain Roy Brown, achieved many of their victories in Camels. The aircraft's operational career was relatively brief, as rapid advances in aircraft design during the war meant that by late 1918, newer types such as the Sopwith Snipe were beginning to replace it. Nevertheless, the Camel remained in frontline service until the armistice and played a vital role in securing Allied air superiority. The Sopwith Camel's greatest strength was its maneuverability. The combination of a powerful rotary engine and a compact, responsive airframe allowed skilled pilots to outturn most adversaries. In the hands of an expert, the Camel could execute rapid right-hand turns, a maneuver that became the hallmark of its combat style. Its twin Vickers machine guns provided formidable firepower for 1917 and 1918, giving pilots a decisive edge in dogfights. The Camel's design also represented a significant step forward in biplane fighter tactics, influencing the development of future generations of combat aircraft. Its success was not just measured in victories, but in the confidence it inspired among Allied pilots, who knew they were flying one of the most capable fighters of the era. Despite its strengths, the Sopwith Camel was not without significant drawbacks. Its rotary engine, while powerful, produced pronounced torque effects that made the aircraft difficult to handle, especially for inexperienced pilots. Many novice aviators lost their lives in training accidents before ever reaching the front lines. The Camel's wooden structure and fabric covering, while lightweight, offered little protection against enemy fire or the elements. Its endurance was limited, restricting its ability to escort bombers or conduct long-range patrols. By the end of the war, the rapid pace of aviation technology had rendered the Camel increasingly obsolete, and it was soon replaced by more advanced fighters such as the Sopwith Snipe. For historical context, the Sopwith Camel should be read as a product of a specific requirement, not as an isolated machine. It was built by Sopwith Aviation Company for United Kingdom, with the intended role of World War I single-seat biplane fighter. Its first flight is recorded as December 1916, and its service entry is recorded as 1917 with Royal Flying Corps and Royal Naval Air Service units. Those dates matter because they place the aircraft inside the technology, doctrine, budget pressure, and threat assumptions of its era. The technical story also depends on how the airframe connected structure, propulsion, systems, and crew workload. Key recorded details include crew, one pilot, engine, rotary piston engine, structure, wooden fabric biplane, weapons, two synchronized Vickers machine guns, mission, air combat, escort, interception, and ground attack. In practical terms, an aircraft is never just an engine or a wing. Range, speed, radar, sensors, targeting equipment, weapons, avionics, fuel capacity, maintenance access, and mission planning all decide whether the design can do useful work repeatedly. The operational record of the Sopwith Camel is tied to World War I. Those examples show how the aircraft performed away from brochures and test figures. Combat service, patrol work, reconnaissance, training, deterrence, and deployment tempo all reveal different truths. A design that looks strong on paper still depends on crews, spare parts, weather, basing, intelligence, rules of engagement, and the ability to return for another sortie. The main strength of the Sopwith Camel was highly maneuverable and experienced hands, effective twin-gun fighter for 1917 to 1918 combat, important step in mature biplane fighter tactics. That strength did not mean perfection. It meant the aircraft gave commanders a useful answer to a real problem. The best way to judge it is to ask what mission it made easier, what earlier limitation it solved, and whether operators kept trusting it after the first years of service. The Sopwith Camel stands as a symbol of innovation and bravery in the early days of aerial combat. Though retired soon after the war, its impact on the development of fighter aircraft was profound. The lessons learned from its design and operation shaped the next generation of combat planes. Today, the Camel is remembered not only as a formidable weapon of war, but as an enduring icon of the First World War. If you enjoyed this deep dive into military aviation history, subscribe for more stories from the skies.